Hello, Crystal Palace. Welcome to the Upper Norwood Library Hub's Library Live Lunch. This is a place to share positive and useful information, find out about our community in more depth, and just keep us all connected during this time. So my guest today is Ruth Everett, who is a local local artist, local actor who has been delving into art during lockdown, and also part of our live stream program. I can't talk this morning. Part of our live stream program, reading children's stories. So, Ruth, thank you so much for joining me. tell us a bit about you and what you would be doing under normal circumstances.
Oh, under normal circumstances. It's funny because I've been an actor for 15 years, so there's kind of no normal circumstances with that. But I suppose ideally what I'd be doing, I mean, this time last year, for example, I was rehearsing a play that was going to be going up to the Edinburgh Festival. So ideally that's what I would have been doing this year as well, I suppose. I had been rehearsing something just before lockdown, which got cancelled. But I mean, equally, I could have been working in a cafe or working at the Gypsy Hill Tap Room, which I do from time to time. So yes, a variety of things. But I mean, yeah, the only thing that's not looking likely for the next, well, foreseeable is the rehearsing a play, sadly. But there
That's
we
a
go.
bit devastating, isn't it? Watching what's happening with the arts at the moment.
Yeah. Watching kind of theatres just kind of fall one by one, it has been really sad. But then the package that they've just announced, finally, support for the arts. So that's really encouraging. So
Yeah.
fingers crossed it makes a difference.
Well, speaking of the arts, we've actually got quite a few of Palace a cappella choir watching. I know that we've got Andrew, Nick, Cora, Gaynell. We've also got Daniel, Richard, as well, and a comment from Nick saying hello, lovely fellow choir people, and Kay says hello as well. So thanks, guys. It's nice to have you watching. So tell us a bit about what you've been doing during lockdown.
Yeah, so it's been this kind of really good time in a weird way. And just in terms of, I was very lucky. Right at the start, I got a job at a food distribution hub in Brixton, working for a company called Healthy Living Platform, who are running this food distribution hub where they parcel up food and stuff and send it out to families and people in need. They're running it in conjunction with Lambeth Council. So they've requisitioned the whole of Brixton Rec. This vast building has been, transformed into this massive food parceling and delivery kind of place. Wow. So I've been working for them there. And I've also been cooking. I work at the Healthy Living Platform, also do make food for families who are connected with them, who they've worked with in the past. So I've been with another fellow choir member, Zoe. I've been a kitchen assistant for them in their community kitchen, which has been an absolute joy. So I've been learning so much. I've never worked in a kitchen before.
Wow.
So that's been great. Yeah. And then just little, sorry.
No, go
And and then aside from that, I've been, just setting myself little personal projects. Like they've been doing the reading for the library, and then and just drawing as much as I can, getting back into that, which was always a big love of mine. So,
Has it been interesting, because you do work in cafes, so has it been interesting seeing the other side, being in the kitchen
absolutely.
for a change?
Yeah, definitely. And suddenly you feel, I don't know, I feel like that's where the power is in the kitchen. That's where that's where the cool stuff happens. Because I always just kind of used to look through the hatch and think, oh God, it just looks really hot in there. Looks really hot. Everyone looks a bit stressed. But I mean, I've never worked a service, for example. I've never kind of had to kind of, cook according to checks coming in and what have you. But but no, it's an enormous amount of fun, and it can get stressful because we do have deadline. We have to get all the 80 meals. I mean, in a day we'll cook up to 100 meals.
Mm.
So you have to get them done by a certain time, obviously.
Wow.
So and things can go wrong, and they do. But it's really fun. It's actually, I would say it's kind of akin to theatre, because you have to deliver at a certain time, and it's got to be
Mm.
good, and people are going to be receiving this, and
Mhm.
you've got to get it right. There's a real time pressure, and yeah, it's really creative as well. So I've been loving it, actually.
Do you think you've learned things that from cooking that will carry over into acting when you're able to go back to that?
Maybe I don't know. I've had, well, humility. Like, turns out I'm not so great at using a rice cooker. I created this mountain of rice yesterday, completely inadvertently, just because I overfilled the rice cooker. I've still got rice in bits of me. I think it's just it got everywhere. Um, I think, I don't know. It's just kind of it's it's just kind of reestablishing that idea of teamwork, and how important it is to, like, be a functioning member of a team, which
Mm.
often means there's a hierarchy, but it also means it means supporting people who know less than you, and listening to the
Mm.
people who know more than you,
Yeah.
and helping
Interesting.
everyone learn whilst learning it yourself. And I think that you can apply that to any work situation, I think.
Yeah.
But I can certainly see it being useful, yeah, in theatre, definitely.
Excellent. Oh well, I'm going to come back to you on that in a few months, I think, and just see
Mm,
what the link is between kitchen cooking and yeah, acting. Interesting.
yeah.
We've had a few more people join us. We've got Pancake Girl 2211 on Instagram, and Gaz and Graham. Thanks guys for watching. I don't think I said this before, but if anybody has any questions or comments for Ruth, please do put them in the feed of whatever platform you're on, and we will try and answer them. So tell us a bit about your story time, because you've been very
Mm.
kindly, you agreed to this very early on in lockdown, I think, to read children's stories for us through the Library Hub live stream program. So tell us a bit about that and what you've been doing.
Yeah.
But,
So, I mean, it was just one of those things. It's something about lockdown. I don't know. I think it's been encouraging me to just say yes to a lot of things. Just going, well, yes, of course. Why not? Yes, why not? So yeah, I just saw that they needed people, and just offered. And me straight away that Sunday, it was like, okay, read a book. So yes, I do storytelling every Sunday from 10:30 till 11, and it's children's stories. Um, and quite swiftly I realized that, because I don't have any children myself, my library of children's books is really quite small. um so, but I started off, yeah, I had some beautiful, just old ones from my own childhood, and I tend to really enjoy reading ones with really beautiful illustrations, because it's nice to kind of look through the illustrations and talk about them, and what have they done there, and what's this. And yeah, so um I mean, I witter on something terrible. I don't just read the story. I'm kind of like, oh, and what have we got here? What's down there? Oh, it's a rabbit. And yeah, but I really, it's really nice, and it's really, and and I think, I've had feedback from friends with children, and I've seen pictures of the kids watching it, which is
mm.
is really,
Oh,
is really lovely. It's really sweet.
it's
And then I
probably,
asked,
sorry,
sorry,
it's just going to say, I think it's probably lovely for them that you are inquisitive, because it's encouraging them to look at what else is on the page, isn't it? And to
yeah.
question, be curious. I think that's lovely.
Yeah, well, that's it exactly. That's what I kind of think. And all the stories I've read, there's always something outside the story that, I and I think it's the way to engage people, isn't it? To kind of, to get yourself involved in it. Yeah, looking at different angles, and yeah, investigating the pictures, and what's going on with those people then. And what's been really nice is I also, I've asked friends for books, and so I've been given lots of books by friends, their favorite childhood books, with
Oh,
their names written in from when they were 6 or whatever. And then I wanted to read some books that were slightly more kind of diverse, by different authors from different backgrounds, because I realized a lot of the books I'd read, I was like, oh, these have all been written by white British men, and I just wanted to make it to get a slightly more diverse range of books. So I put a little shout out on Facebook for recommendations, got loads. So
Wow.
then I ended up getting hold of all these wonderful books that I don't think I would ever have otherwise seen, and that's been a real
It's
joy as
become
well.
a real community effort. I hadn't realised.
Yeah, yeah, people really, they really like to get involved. I mean, I suppose a lot of my friends have children, and so they've kind of already done this kind of research themselves.
Mhm.
Oh, how can I get my children reading more, books by like, BAME authors or something, or more, or about, just exploring diversity of all sorts. So all the mums were very happy to send me links to the places they'd already discovered
Yeah,
themselves. So
cool.
it's been a really lovely experience.
Have you
Yeah.
found
Mm.
out? I mean, has it given you different insight into your friends as well, maybe if they're with what they're recommending and also the books that they had when they were children? It's been quite interesting.
Absolutely, yeah. It's been really interesting. It's really lovely seeing, yeah, the things that people were reading. Like one friend, there was she had lots of Australian based books. I
Mm.
was like, oh, I didn't realize that was an aspect of your younger life. um and other ones that I know, and I've got a friend who gave me a whole bag full of books that she's read to her nieces and stuff, so they've really been part of her family
Mm.
for a long time. And that's and I love the thought that she read them and then she read them to her nieces,
Yeah,
and now she's passed them on to me so that I can, it's
lead them
really
to the whole
lovely.
of Crystal
But
Palace
the whole of Crystal Palace and beyond.
and beyond.
um yeah, it's been lovely. And I mean, one of my favorite books actually was one that my brother gave me for my birthday a few years ago, because it was a book from our childhood that we'd always had on the shelf for as long as I can remember. The Butterfly Ball, The Grasshopper's Feast and The Butterfly Ball, and that was the first one I read, and it's just got the most incredible pictures. Some of it's a little bit dated, so I had to skip over some of the pages. um I was kind of judiciously kind of going, maybe not that one. But so there was a little bit of censorship going on, but no, that was delightful to kind of rediscover a book that
Mm,
I'd, obviously loved when I was tiny and hadn't seen again for
mm,
years. And that was great to share. That is a really, I
mm,
think that's a real pleasure, a real
mm.
privilege, actually.
Yeah, it's lovely to revisit
Mm.
childhood things, isn't it? And then, yeah, to have the opportunity to share them forward.
Yeah,
It's really
yeah,
lovely. Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
And yeah, but this led you on to being creative yourself with it, didn't it, as well?
Yes, it did. Because, well, when I realized that I didn't have such a vast library of children's books initially, before I thought, well, why not just like ask my friends to give me all their books? Well, like, yeah, I realized I was going to quickly run out of books, and I couldn't go and browse in bookshops or secondhand shops or something, which is what I would ordinarily do. I'd go and find I it's just, we've got so many secondhand shops in Crystal Palace. We've got the amazing bookshop. It's like ordinarily that would be first port of call, but
Mm.
of course nothing was open. So I thought, well, I could just write my own book. Um, and having never done it before, obviously, and
Yeah, but you
I
have to
thought, well, why
start
not?
somewhere, don't you?
Yeah, you've got to start somewhere. Start small. And so I thought as well, because I love drawing, I love art, I always have, but I haven't always made the time for it in my life. So I thought I'd write my own book, and then illustrate it myself as well. And
Wow.
because a lot of the books I initially was reading, a lot of the books I was reading initially were kind of based on nature. They had lots of pictures of wildlife and stuff. That was my kind of focus. And because all we could really do at the time was we had our walks that we were allowed to go out on. So I was like, well, I'll go on. I'll write about what one might see on a walk, and draw images based on that. And
Wow.
so that's what I've been doing for the last few weeks, basically.
Mm.
Yeah, I swiftly realized that it would take an awfully long time to fully illustrate a book
Wow.
that was like 20 minutes long. So
To read
the
once
pictures
on
have
one
kind of,
Sunday.
yeah, exactly. It would just be over in kind of 5 minutes, and that would be something like 2 months worth of work, just over 5 minutes. But it's been such a pleasure. I've really enjoyed it, and yeah, and and now I have this collection of I mean, I've still only done maybe, I think I'm on to my 13th or something, my 13th illustration.
Gorgeous. Which
Yeah.
we are actually showing in the Facebook feed at the moment, just
Oh,
the ones you
great.
sent.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. And that nearly all of the pictures are from the surrounding, like Crystal Palace or Sydenham Woods
Mm.
or Gypsy Hill, or
Mhm.
most of them have been taken from these
Mhm.
places, which is really nice as well.
Mm. Do you
Mm.
think that this will have a lasting effect on what you do as we come out of lockdown and going on forward?
Well, I mean, it's definitely something I'm going to keep doing, and
Mhm.
I'm just going to keep building up and building up this. Just, I mean, I'd, I'd never want to presume that I could, you know, I'm no way a professional kind of artist, but but then, there's, well, like my partner and I actually bought a picture that a local artist had drawn. It's not
Mm.
his primary profession. He just posted them on the local Facebook group going, I've
Mhm.
done these pictures from Crystal Palace. Does anyone like them? And so we
Oh,
bought one because he did a drawing of our street. It was like, that's a view from the top of our street. So we bought it, and now it's up in our living room, and it's lovely because it's just like, it's by this guy who lives down the road.
yeah.
And I thought, well, you know, if I'm happy with them, then there's nothing to stop me from making little prints and maybe setting up a little,
Mm.
just a little business just on the side as a
Yeah.
nice thing to do. um and yeah, I feel like there's no harm in it.
Mhm.
So yeah, it might be a thing that I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I have two comments actually. Cora says, "Oh yes, you are," and I think that was in reply to you saying you're in no way. I can't remember exactly your wording, but in no way professional artist or something. I think this is probably in response to that. And Nick also
Oh,
says, "Ruth, there's no end to your talents."
oh, Nick.
There
Oh, shush. Thank you.
you go. It's a nice community we have here, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it sounds like actually lockdown has been a really lovely time in a lot of ways. I mean, obviously, that's with a caveat that we all know there's terrible stuff going on, but it sounds like
Mm.
you've managed to find some real positives in it.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, initially, yeah, it was I mean, obviously for everyone, it was just such an alarming and strange time, and we had a lot of adjustments to make. But then I suppose the opportunity was there to just, because suddenly there was all this time. And so instead of, slowly going around the bend,
Mm,
I think, yeah, I just wanted to, I just, as I said earlier, I kind of just found myself saying yes to a lot of things. Um, and yeah, because ordinarily I'd be quite tired, I would be working multiple jobs, and I'd just be a bit, and I'd also, if I was acting, I'd be getting kind of creatively fulfilled in rehearsals by doing that,
mm,
and I'd be spending my evenings learning lines or what have you. So
mm,
it was kind of, it's quite time consuming doing that, and also really fulfilling. But so when that was gone, suddenly
mm,
there is this huge gap, and a creative gap, needing to kind of make something,
mm.
and also a financial gap, so needing, somehow to find work.
Yeah.
And I'm just very lucky that I know, I don't know, I just talked to the right people at the right time and ended up being able to do some really great things. So yeah, I feel really fortunate, and it's been a real lesson in just say yes,
Mm,
just do it. Who
yeah.
knows? um
I
yeah.
think I sort of I feel like everybody's been talking more and in a slightly different way, and maybe the situation has enabled people to say what they need a bit more and to actually ask for help because we're all in it. And so the opportunities to find ways to be connected, ways to help, ways to do new things has sort of been maybe a bit easier in a weird way than before.
Yeah,
I don't know.
there's absolutely been this kind of mushrooming of like, of different groups popping up and saying, well, we want to do this, can anyone help us with this? And I think at the start, I mean, when the COVID aid groups started evolving, and there were all these WhatsApp groups for every road. You know, we're here to help. You know, we've got to look after each other. That was this huge surge of people kind of getting together, connecting, offering themselves, um, and yeah, and like you say, people realizing where all the different places where help was needed. You know, like elderly people, people with children, just across the board. And yeah, it's been, and so yeah, there has been a lot of opportunity to join in with a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, like you say, a lot of people have found themselves doing much more of that, and it's been really, really fantastic to see, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as you said, there's just been a bit more time, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I feel like I've been busier than ever before, but that's been possible because I'm not commuting all over London. So, you know, it's
Yes.
several different places a day. And actually, it's been lovely to be static for a bit and to be able to do more interesting things, you know, do more
Yeah.
of the interesting things because I'm not traveling so much
Yeah.
and stuff. So,
Yeah.
yeah, interesting.
Absolutely.
Maybe.
And keeping it, and it means you can get, I don't know, people are getting really embedded locally, you know, doing, you know,
Yeah.
because I think of you as someone who's absolutely at the heart of our community at the moment,
Oh,
you know, doing
thank you.
everything that you do. And yeah, and it's really nice to feel like people are really kind of just entrenching themselves in their immediate surroundings, because
Yeah.
they don't have to go off anywhere, like you say. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I really hope that that is something that I have also found a positive of this time, and I really, really hope it continues because it's been so
Mm.
lovely getting to know the community better and like actually really paying attention to what's there, getting to know people a bit
Mm.
better, and like, you know, bumping into you just when I've been out on run and stuff has actually been
Yeah.
amazing, especially in the first month when, you know, just
Yeah.
hadn't seen anybody for weeks. So
Yeah,
yeah,
people were scarce, and it
yeah,
made it so special, didn't it? It was
yeah.
always just a real like, hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to see a face you recognize and
Yeah, yeah,
have a actually in-person chat with even at a distance, you know, really
yeah,
helped. Yeah, interesting.
yeah, absolutely.
Oh. Well, let's fingers crossed. I really hope the community spirit carries on.
I'm sure it will. It
Yeah.
feels like so much has been put in place that will surely endure,
Mm,
because so many people have got involved, you
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
We're kind of a bit more embedded now. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, sort of, speaking of which, in response to you saying that you might put some of your illustrations kind of prints out for sale and stuff, Kay says, "You're a wonderful artist. I'll buy one brackets or more." Cora says, "Me too." And Gaynell says, "Love your illustrations. I'd definitely buy some." So go for it. Go for it.
All righty.
Ah, brilliant. Well, we're coming to the end of our time. So actually, I'd just like to, from what we were just saying about community, this feels like a
Mm.
good time to just quickly reflect back on yesterday's live lunch, which was Noreen Meehan, who is director of Crystal Palace Festival, came to update us about the Crystal Palace Town team. So for anybody who hasn't heard about this yet, there is a suggestion that we could get a town team for Crystal Palace, which would be aiming to be a voice for united Crystal Palace, because we're on the edge of 5 boroughs. We often fall between the cracks, and sort of who takes responsibility for which bits, and getting cohesion can be quite difficult. So the suggestion of a town team is to really help unify Crystal Palace and make sure we are not falling between the cracks. So I can't remember the website off the top of my head, but if you search for Crystal Palace Town Team, it's something like crystalpalacetownteam.org or .co.uk. Cool, thank you. crystalpalacetownteam.org.uk. Awesome. I have an amazing technical team of one. Thank you, Rin. Awesome, very on it. So do have a check of that and get involved. The vote as to whether or not we have a town team is basically do it by tomorrow. I think it might be at 1 o'clock. So please do, if you haven't heard about this, please do have a check, everybody, and cast your vote. I think this could be an amazing long-term thing for Crystal Palace, and as Ruth and I were just talking about, help take the positives of what we've had during lockdown and really grow them. So that would be awesome. I think it'd be fab. So do get involved in whichever direction. The other couple of things to say, we have an amazing big live stream program. As you probably know by now, we have daily meditation and yoga and singing. We have Ruth doing her amazing stories on Sunday. We have live music, cross stitch with Alice, running coaching with Chris, and all sorts of things. So if you haven't checked out the live stream program yet, please do. We also have our amazing new project that launched a few weeks ago, which is All Alone Together, looking at the impact of the pandemic on our local community and what we can do going forward to help, what services maybe we can provide, what gaps we can fill. There is a survey on our website. It's really, really short. It's 4 questions. We're really trying to engage as many people as possible, as broad a cross section of the community as we can. And actually the reason why Ruth is here today is because we had a lovely chat interview a few weeks ago, which included talking about what she was doing during lockdown, and I thought it was something that should be shared. So if you fill in the survey and you're up for being interviewed and being part of the oral history side, so creating a kind of audio time capsule, we'll have sections of people talking about their experiences in their own voices, in their own words. I think that's going to be amazing. And there is an option to tick a box to say that you're happy to be interviewed. And if you are, I would love to chat to you. And then one more thing that I need to say, which is following on from that, another strand of that project is that we have some funding. This is all funded by the Arts Council. We have some funding to support artists with paid projects. So we're looking for artists to come and do something on our live stream channel and to be funded, to be paid to do that. So the details of that are all on the Facebook group. It's open to people from the 5 boroughs that connect in Crystal Palace. So yes, if you're an artist and you have something you'd like to share on our live stream program, please have a look at our Facebook page. The details are all now in the Facebook feed or the social media, whatever social media platform you're on, the details should be there. Please do have a look, get in touch as soon as you can, the more the merrier. And yeah, we want to hear from you basically at the Library Hub at the moment. We want to hear how you're getting on, what we can do. And the final thing to say is that tomorrow's guest on the Library Lunch is Emily Jewell, from the Library Hub, who is going to talk to us a bit about where the hub is at, what reopening might look like, what is already happening, what will happen, and to basically give you an update on where the Library Hub is at. So please do tune in tomorrow at midday to hear from Emily. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Ooh. Kay says, anyone we know that might want to do that. Yes, Kay, thanks. I'll be in touch later. Cool, that's it from me for today. Ruth, lovely to chat to you again. Thank you very much for joining me. Stay safe, everybody. See you soon. Bye for now.